meter.
Ajay, Longinus said this was from you. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. He also said the opium at the old tea factory was ready to ship. We need to wipe that poison out.
Wipe it out? Are you joking? We need to secure that shipment and those fields.
Amita, we talked about this. Turning Kirat into a drug state is not the answer.
Sabal, we have no natural resources. What happens when we're free? The mines have been stripped, the fields have been ruined for years. So we liberate our people, then what?
It's not our way. It never was. You do this, you're no better than pagan. It's morally bankrupt.
Better than being literally bankrupt.
Ajay, grab an incendiary. You'll need it.
I never thought these costumes would work.
You need something that burns. A flamethrower, anything. Go grab something.
Salam, beta Ajay.
I wouldn't have gone that way, but okay. Go practice with your new toy over there.
You put on my grandfather's old farm clothes. Lucky.
I reached the spot.
See those fields? That's opium. Burn all of it. The crops, the harvested shipment. I want Pagan to smell his fortune going up in smoke all the way from his palace.
Okay. I had to replace the solenoid valve, but the sprinkler should work now.
The fields are torched.
I wish I was there to see it burn. Your father wasn't just fighting for the people, brother. He was trying to protect the land, too. Our souls are tied into the soil and rock. That's what Nvidia doesn't understand.
Unanswered. Someone help! It's sacrilege!
To any golden path in the area, the Royal Army is trying to retake this outpost. We need immediate assistance.
Far Cry 4 is honestly one of my favorite games in the Far Cry series. I know a lot of you may think, but Spence, it's just more, I guess, just another more Far Cry 3 really, and that is true gameplay wise. I mostly like Far Cry 4 better for the story though. I did kind of like Pagan Min as an antagonist as opposed to Voss. Even if Far Cry 3 does feel a little more in story in depth, I don't know, I just prefer Far Cry 4 more. So I thought I want to do a benchmark on it. I do plan on doing Far Cry 5 as a benchmark, but that is probably going to be later. I don't want to do 2 Far Cry games in a row because they do play sort of similar to each other. Then again, so is Call of Duty, but I don't know, I just don't feel like doing 2 in a row at the moment. I do want to do Far Cry 5 in the future though. So let's talk about the graphics. Far Cry 4 looks really nice. I'm probably going to say that about every game I feature on this series. But for a time, Far Cry 4 doesn't look half bad, and to a degree holds up to date. To a degree, yes. Again, there are Nvidia enhancements you can turn on, which are sort of like a ray tracing option before there was even ray tracing. So if your computer can handle it, then you can turn them on, but you really don't need to. The game already looks great without them. It's just if you want that extra piece of graphical fidelity, you can add that with these enhancements. You know, things like the God Rays and the fur and the aliasing. And, of course, the MXAO. I think it was MXAO. So, yeah, and you don't even have to turn them all on. You can find, like, a balance between them. You can turn some things on, some things not. You know, but the extra feature's there if you do want it. And, honestly, the amount of frames you lose, as opposed to the amount of frames you lose from it is, does sort of make it varied of whether it's worth it or not. I personally don't play with those enhancements on. I like to just keep my 75 frames. But you may differ. You may want the graphical fidelity, and that's totally fine. As you notice, the frame does dip a bit. During basic gameplay it can as well, but with the enhanced stuff on it, it dips a bit too. With things like well, at one point I think go down into maybe 40s. It mostly stayed in the high 50s, but not quite at 60. Most stayed in the high 50s. But then again, that's perfectly playable. Back in the day, I beat Far Cry 4 on my 1050 Ti laptop with high settings. I think I had like mid to high frames in the mid to high 40s. So again, usually if as long as it stays above 30 FPS, Far Cry is playable. The console standard for Far Cry, at least for the Xbox One and PS4, that was always 30 frames, and that was always more than playable. So on PC, 35 frames or 40 frames is definitely more than playable. So yeah, with that said, that pretty much sums up this whole benchmark overview. You can play with the enhancements if you want, or you don't have to. The game looks great without them. It is optimized fairly well, considering how much stuff is in the map. It is optimized fairly well for just how big the map is. Again, enhancements will get those frames down, but I've never seen them come to an unplayable state. I never had the enhancements so. Yeah, I've never lost that many frames to where the game's unplayable. You may go down to the 40s, high 40s if you're using this setup, but for the most part, the game is totally playable all the way through from start to finish with on ultra settings, 1080p at least. In terms of 4K, I'd assume you'd maybe get about 30 frames in 4K. Maybe again, I don't have a 4K monitor, so I can't really tell. But I'm assuming you'd maybe get about 40 frames, not 40 frames, 30 frames, maybe mid 30s. Can't be exactly sure. There's just a guess. So yeah, I just figured though if you're getting 60 here in 1080p, then in 1080p 60, if you're getting 1080p 60 here, then I think 4K 30s is a reasonable assumption. But yeah, that wraps us up. Keep an eye out for more benchmark videos in the future. I did say I was going to do more 2016 games, but I decided to just pop this one in just for fun. Yeah, so just keep an eye out for the next benchmark, and that wraps us up.